U.S. Rep Pappas, challenger Mowers face off in fiery debate. Pappas seeks second term. President Trump supported Mowers in primary. Democrat U.S. Rep Chris Pappas and Republican challenger Matt Mowers met in a continuous debate Wednesday, marked by frequent interruptions and accusations of dishonesty. Pappas has represented New Hampshire's 1st congressional district for the past 2 years. Born and raised in the Granite State, the restaurant owner and former executive counsel said he's representing the values of New Hampshire. Mowers said he has spent time in New Hampshire dating back to childhood and now looks forward to raising his family in the state. He worked for the New Hampshire Republican Party and in President Donald Trump's State Department before launching an international political consulting firm. On Wednesday night, debate at WMUR-TV was marked by a continuous tone throughout, with the candidates often taking extra time to respond to an attack from other. Each candidate would often interject a not true to something his opponent said, with Mowers even interrupting Pappas's closing statement. Mowers focused his attacks on Congress, saying it has been ineffective in its response to COVID-19 crisis in helping the economy. Pappas referenced several bills that had been passed by Congress to provide relief or prevent the spread of election disinformation, only to go nowhere in a Senate controlled by Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Much of the debate was focused on the COVID-19 pandemic. Both candidates said more needs to be done to help people, schools, and businesses. Testing is the best way that we can stay ahead of COVID-19. Make sure we are identifying it, isolating it, doing the contact tracing that's needed to prevent the spread, Pappas said. We're lucky here in New Hampshire that our numbers are low, but all have to stay vigilant to keep it in that place. That means that Congress needs to act to provide the necessary resources, both in terms of personal protective equipment and supplies, but also to ramp up our testing effort. Mowers also said testing needs to be increased and work must progress toward a vaccine. He said he brings skills to the challenge that he developed working on a global HIV/AIDS program. We need to take a lot of the same results and lessons we learned from that to apply to this pandemic, he said. We need to make sure that we follow all safe protocols while continuing to ramp up testing and distinguish. We need to ramp up rapid testing, which just last week was announced and now available to first responders here in New Hampshire. We need to invest in a safe, effective, and a reliable vaccine. Those are the steps we need to take and put politics aside and get something done. Mowers accused Pappas of not doing enough in Congress to bring more aid to New Hampshire. You keep hearing Congressman Pappas, and Congress should do this, Congress should do that, Congress should get relief. Mowers said, well, Congressman, you're in Congress. If you want to get this done, you could go down there right now. But Pappas said House-passed legislation has continually been blocked by McConnell or discouraged by the president. This is absolutely a time to put the American people first. Matt and I have been fighting for that each and every step of the way, Pappas said. The president tweeted last week that he wanted to end negotiations, Mitch McConnell this week said that he's advising the White House not to come to the table and do a deal before the election. We've got to fix this, and the only way I know how to do it is vote for legislation, co-sponsor legislation, call on our leadership to do it, and bring the stories of everyday granite skaters down to Washington, D.C. The discussion came as part of a back and forth between the candidates that was a hallmark of the debate. Things took a personal tone when Mowers accused Pappas of dating a corporate lobbyist and saying it was something he should have disclosed to voters. With all due respect, you've been dating corporate lobbyists who actually was lobbying on behalf of Amazon at the time when you went to cast 10 separate votes on Amazon's behalf on bills they lobbied you on, Mowers charged. Pappas said the accusation wasn't true and that Mowers has been profiting from lobbying. This is outrageous. This is outrageous charge, Pappas said. Matt Mowers is somebody who worked for the Trump administration. He left and cashed in on his relationship from that administration. I've read your financial disclosure, Matt. You get paid by the big companies. You get paid by DC lobbying firms. You're representing their interest and not the interest of people of New Hampshire. And to go after me personally like this is really disgusting, Matt. There's no place for that on the debate stage. Pappas later released a statement calling Mowers' comments despicable. Members of the LGBTQ community has always been held to a different standard when running for office, and Mr. Mowers' baseless attacks perpetuate those same harmful lines of attacks, Pappas said in a statement. New Hampshire voters saw gutter politics at its worst tonight, but their true granite staters knew that hate has no place in our state. Mowers said after the debate that the topic was valid. I don't care who the congressman dates. I really don't, Mowers said. What I care about is whether he was transparent and truthful about why he was casting votes that way he did. Despite the interruptions, both the candidates addressed a lot of topics beyond COVID-19. They tangled over the issue of qualified community for police officers, which protects officers from many lawsuits related to misconduct. Supporters of qualified immunity argued that it's necessary to prevent police from facing lawsuits, while opponents say it shields officers from facing consequences for wrongdoing. Mowers said Pappas was in favor of getting rid of qualified immunity, putting him at odds with law enforcement unions in New Hampshire. Pappas said he has supported legislation that provides for new accreditations and training to focus police resources. When asked about the Supreme Court, both sides said they opposed expanding the number of justices on the court, but Pappas said the balance on the court is shifting in a way in which people could lose access to health care and women could lose the right to have an abortion. Pappas said if Mowers were elected, he would support politics and policies that would threaten people's coverage of pre-existing conditions, something Mowers denied. But said they believe something needs to be done about climate change. But Mowers said countries like China and India need to be held at high standards. Pappas has worked on legislation to impose emissions and targets. And that does it for this news report on the Riley King Network. Thank you for watching this news report, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Goodbye.